How's it going, crypto community? This is Jade, back with another XRP Martian report. In this one, we're going to be listening to Christine Lagarde talk with Trevor Noah on The Daily Show. She doesn't talk about XRP directly or really even blockchain, but she does say a few keywords that we like, which we'll touch on. And the primary purpose of this, I believe, is much like digital asset investor said. Wow. I can't talk, just so you know, when I roll words. I don't know. Just do it. Anyway, so in this video, we're going to go over why Christine Lagarde is being featured on The Daily Show, right? It's not normal for you to see somebody from the financial institutions or somebody from the IMF on a one of the most widely viewed, mainstream media TV news stations. Even though it's a comedy show, that says a lot about the state of our system, right? Where you get your news from comedians because they're the only ones that have any shred of decency to them. But even still, there's biases all throughout all of them, of course, right? So with all that said and out of the way, I hope you enjoy this, and let's jump right into it.
Please welcome Madame Christine Lagarde. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is not often that I sit across people who have access to $1 trillion.
I'm gonna pause right there. She just told the world that this woman has access to $1 trillion. This video is also meant for a lot of people who aren't in XRP right now. Just so you know, this woman on stage that has access to $1 trillion, she likes a certain cryptocurrency called XRP, not Libra coin, not Zuck coin, not Facebook coin, whatever you want to call it or whatever you know it as. No. She's in favor of a crypto called XRP being developed by a company that she meets with regularly called Ripple Labs. Jumping right back.
Is this a good time to ask for a loan? Is this when I do it? For those who don't know, what is the job of the IMF?
Do you mind a teeny tiny bit of history?
Of course.
Okay, we just celebrated the Second World War anniversary 75 years ago.
Right.
We are celebrating our 75th anniversary as well.
Oh, wow.
Because what happened at the time, countries decided that fighting each other, killing each other was probably not the way to go. Because it all started with a bad economic situation.
Yes.
So they thought, rather than do that, why don't we set up a club, give it a lot of money, and have competent people, number one, give some economic advice, number two, give some loans in case any member of the club is not doing so well.
Right.
And number three, ask them to give technical assistance. That's what we do. We try to help countries with better prosperity, and we try to help with financial stability so that the world is not going in too bad a direction.
It's interesting that you got this job at a time when the world was going in a bad direction because you took...
Okay, so they're going to jump into a little bit of a off-topic tangent here that's more of a plug. But the point that they've just made here is that she's in charge of a pretty important association, a pretty important thing that most people in America, most people in the world don't know what the IMF is, I've learned. I knew what the IMF was when I was like 19 or 20, so it kind of boggles my mind that people don't. But most people don't understand how important the IMF is. Trevor told you, if you're new, by the way, she governs over $1 trillion. She manages $1 trillion. Do you know how everybody freaks out about Amazon almost being worth $1 trillion? No, they have it pocketed, and they just distribute it as need be, right? Pretty powerful individuals, for those of you who are not familiar. This is why so many of us in the XRP community are really convinced that we're holding the real digital gold, the new world currency.
Over, like basically at the peak of the financial crisis. And some people have said that's another example of, I don't know if you've heard of it, the glass cliff. You have the glass ceiling, and they say the glass cliff is when something goes really bad, and then they give the job to a woman. They're like, all right, you can have it now.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, okay,
yes.
great. Did it feel like you were stepping into a job where you were destined to fail? Because you've succeeded now, but I mean, at that moment, was it terrifying?
It was intimidating, yes. But your point is so right. Whenever the situation is really, really bad, you call in the woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And the woman did a great job. I mean, you came in. No, you've been lauded as someone who is not just apt at handling money and understanding the cause of the world, but you've moved the IMF forward. I mean, the IMF was once regarded as an institution that was only dealing with African countries, etc. But recently, the IMF was bailing out Greece. The IMF was helping countries in Europe that have been struggling. When you look at the challenges the world is facing now, what do you think we need to be looking out for that could lead to the next conflict based on economics that's causing people to just, I guess, flare up in different ways?
I'll tell you what I think are the two key priorities going forward. Number one is climate change. Number two is rising inequalities. If we could fix those two things, it might significantly improve the position.
How do you begin to fix those things?
Well, I'll give you an example on climate change. Around the world, you have roughly $5 trillion that are being spent on subsidies to burn fossil fuel. This is not a good use of public finance. Instead of that, you should put that money in health, in education, in hospitals, in infrastructure.
That is a lot of money, yeah.
It is a lot of money.
But someone might say to you, yes, but they're giving that money to fossil fuel industries because they need to boost economies. Why do you think, from your experience, it's more important to be investing in social, social grants, social ideas that move people forward, like hospitals, like schools, etc.? How does that help an economy?
Well, first of all, it helps by reducing the inequalities. If young kids in all countries of the world, particularly the low-income countries, can go to school, they will be better off.
Right.
If women, for instance, can actually, instead of walking miles to get water, as is the case in so many countries, can actually access a road, a highway, and go and fetch water without having to spend all those hours.
Right.
If kids are born in hospital where there is appropriate care, then clearly they're going to be better off for the rest of their life. So by doing that, you improve the prosperity of people, not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in 5 and 10 years' time, because that's critically important for the future.
You have to have a long...
That is the future, right? And this is the problem. Americans, by and large, they're brainwashed into either supporting somebody because, oh, global warming's a hoax. No, if you believe global warming's a hoax, you've been brainwashed by the right. You've been brainwashed by, not the right even, by the fossil fuel industries, right? As she just said, they receive $5 trillion in subsidies. If oil's such a great thing, if oil makes people rich, why do we pay $5 trillion out of our taxpayer pockets around the world for them to go and drill holes to make money? If they can make money drilling holes and extracting dead dinosaur blood out the planet, then they don't need us giving them $5 trillion. I told you I was going to get political on it. Don't worry. I'll be coming out the left soon too.
Long-term view in your job, though, because you're working with so much money and you're working with the future of countries and the world, one of the issues you've been vocal about has been the trade disputes happening right now, especially between America and China. And you actually said to both of the boys leading their countries, they both need to calm down and they need to work this out. Now, on the American side, I can't speak for China's policy, but I know on the American side, Donald Trump's argument has been they have to impose these trade policies. They have to block China because American industries are suffering and they have to impose these tariffs. How do you respond to that, and what do you think a possible solution could be for the small business owner / the industries that are feeling it and the economy and the global economy at large?
Well, I'd say two things. One is President Trump has a point concerning...
Wait.
Yeah. Because, he has a point on intellectual property.
Yes.
It is correct that nobody should be stealing intellectual property to move ahead.
Right.
He has a point on subsidies. You cannot just go about competing with others out there that are being heavily subsidized. So on those 2 points, you can't either say, well, welcome in my country, but you're only going to come if you're going to transfer technology, and this is compulsory. You have no option. Right. So on these 3 points, clearly the game has to change. The rules have to be respected. But where it doesn't work is when you say, I'm going to raise tariffs. because the impact of raising tariffs is not going to be on China. The impact is going to be on those companies in the United States that are importing goods from outside the US.
Right.
And the ultimate person who will bear the brunt of those tariff increases are the consumers, and particularly the...
So, again, said I'm going to be coming at the left towards the end here. Don't worry. Gotta come at Trump now. I don't think he's on the left or right. He's corporate. Let's be real. Trump is a real estate man. He's a businessman. And we all know that Trump doesn't give a damn about the what is ethical and moral in running, as being the president. Because his first term, or his first year, he was out there making deals for Trump, for his business on this with Japan, right? So we know that he is making special interest deals with people out there in the world as president. That's against the Constitution. He's not allowed to do that. He's breaking the law. But we can't put him in jail because he's a residing president for it, right? Is that right? That a president shouldn't be upheld to the same law that they're supposed to uphold? Don't know. But what I can say is that regardless of that, he's still sitting here selling a lot of us versus them into America by saying, oh, I'm doing a great thing by putting these tariffs on. He's pretending to be a tough guy. He's screwing all of us, making everything more expensive here. Everything he puts a tariff on, you're going to pay more for. China's not paying more for it. They're paying the same to make it, and they're sending it over here. And guess what? It's still selling over here. They don't care. Go ahead, they say. Screw your own economy. That's what Christine Lagarde just told you. She's not from China and she's not from America. She's just telling you straight. Get a grip. Not you. American politicians, alright? I think most people that are listening to this actually understand what I'm saying.
The low-income consumers, those who need to actually buy reasonably cheap products because they can get by with those products. And they are the ones who are going to actually suffer the consequences of tariff increases. So I'm saying to all those involved in trade discussions, we need adults in the room. You need to hear...
You need to hear...
You need to hear the economic facts, not focus on one or two numbers, but look at the overall picture and understand that if you actually do that, you're going to give a little haircut to the global economy. We've calculated that if there is tariff on the entire business between the US and China at 25%, as is threatened, already applied on some, it's going to shave off about 0.5 percentage point of growth. That's the equivalent of removing South Africa from the planet.
What?
Yeah. In terms of size, that's the equivalent of the GDP of South Africa.
Why did you choose South Africa? You made it personal. Wow. You are always dealing with such big issues, and I mean that it is an international monetary fund. One of the main things that you have been a driver of, one of the main issues has been empowering women, and not in a charity sense, but in a business sense.
Yeah.
You very famously had the quote where you came out and said, if Lehman Brothers was Lehman Brothers and Sisters, maybe they would have done a little bit better.
Yes.
Right? Why is it so important for countries to invest in women beyond the niceness of it all?
Yeah, I've given up on the morality and charity side of things.
Oh, you have?
No, I'll tell you why, not personally, but because it doesn't seem to impress people.
Yes.
So I said, fine.
Yeah. So now we're going to attack the left, right? Because y'all aren't impressed by people that are actually out there talking about the things that are really important. There are, but they're called the extremist left. The people that actually care, we're labeled as extremists because we actually believe in, ethics, in actually ensuring the betterment of our species, not just ourselves. And people don't care about that by and large because most people are disgusting monsters. That's my opinion. As an optimist too in the world, right? Everybody knows that I like to be optimistic, but most people are disgusting monsters. Horrifyingly monsteristic individuals that, hey, you gotta deal with them. They're part of the gene pool. Can't get rid of them. We might need them someday when real aliens come at us, right? Maybe they'll be good for something. Until then, they're just monsters out there that are seeding doubt, anger, deceit, spreading pain, whether it's theirs or just pain that they want to throw on you because they're a horrible person. I don't know. There's a dozen reasons why people decide to be horrible people, but at the end of the day, what Madame Lagarde's pointing out here is that most people don't care. They don't care. So, don't care. She laid out exactly why you should care if you don't care about people. If you care about the almighty dollar bill, what she said's pretty important. Because if you want to make money as a non 1.1%er, whatever position you are, if you don't have $5 million or more in the bank, you're not a part of the ruling elite. So you better start thinking for yourself, thinking about what's best for you and not what's best for that dude with $5 million. I'm saying this as somebody that believes I'm going to have $5 million in the next 2 years. I'm saying it then too, because I'm not going to be one of those monsters who's only out for my self-interest. That's why I'm making this channel, because I believe most people out there are just self-interested. There's a certain individual in our community around the time I made my channel that kind of proved that to me, right? There's a lot of good people in our community. A lot of great people. And I like to shout them out regularly as often as I can. Brad Kimes, SPQR Lee, Aiden Trading. DAI seems fantastic despite things that I've heard about him. He does great work. He's really, really well conserved and usually stays pretty on point. And he's super knowledgeable about the business world, right? So I have no problem shouting out the good people, and I like to shout them out because they deserve it. They deserve more attention than they already have. But that said, there's a lot of people out here that are only interested in bettering themselves. And that's why I'm here, because I'm here to better myself, but I'm here to make sure that you have the same opportunity I have and are at least able to entertain the same ideas and notions I have based upon my now 4 years experience researching the space, right? And going on 2 years of investing in it. So, let's finish up her interview here real quick, right?
Fine. You're not impressed by that? It's a moral imperative? You're not concerned? Okay. Now, let me tell you that if on the economic side, you increase the size of the economy, you improve the income per capita, each individual in society, and if at the company level, you actually get a better profit at the end of the year because there will have been women on the board or women in the executive team, aren't you concerned about that? I don't know yet, and I'll have to meet yet the leader of a country who says, no, I don't want more growth. No, I don't want a larger economy. No, I don't want to distribute more income.
Right.
They all want the same thing. So bring the women. If you look at the participation of women in the economy, you usually have 15% difference. If you look at the wages of women versus men, same job, same effort, you have at least 16% difference. Why is that? This is a complete waste of time and waste of energy and waste of resources. So women have to be given the same opportunities, be given the same salary, and have the same exactly rights as men.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you. Wonderful having you. Good luck at the G20. Christine Lagarde, everybody.
So there you go. Good luck at the G20, Madame Lagarde. Why though were you on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah just to talk about the points that you did? Because none of that was really anything more than just an introduction to who Christine Lagarde is, right? And why she's so powerful and important to probably follow. I think we're going to get something pretty big from G20. I think that there's going to potentially be a global announcement even. Wouldn't that be crazy? That's a bit of a jump though. That's my opinion. That's the opinion that I told you I'd share at the end, that I think what we just witnessed was the priming of the public to know who Christine Lagarde is for when she appears on international television at the G20 summit, right? I can't wait to break down the G20. I can't wait to see how much my viewership goes up based upon that, right? Not because of the value that's going to come in, but because of the analytics involved with, okay, how many more people are viewing this Christine Lagarde video versus the Christine Lagarde videos that I've done in the past, right? How much more interest is there out there on YouTube for Christine Lagarde? Now, if you're new to this and you're just like, you know, what is this XRP? What does it have to do with Christine Lagarde? Go watch my other videos. You'll know real quick, and you'll understand real quick why so many of us in the XRP space are so bullish on where our price is going, on how high the value of XRP is going to go in the next few months, years. Who knows how long, but it's going to go up. And as far as what many of you have heard me say about Libra coin and Facebook coin in my live stream last night, and also my second follow-up video I did, I unlisted those videos for a reason. And it wasn't because I felt I was being overly emotional or, you know, was not being factual about what Libra coin was, but because I had this glaring oversight the entire time that I just didn't realize until I was literally talking with my cousin last night. And that was, Ripple's working with the IMF and the World Bank and central banks around the world. Central banks are not happy with what Mark Zuckerberg's doing, trying to create a corporate private bank, right? What Zuckerberg's creating is a legitimate threat to them. That, to me, spells a catalyst for XRP's future. That said, I've also seen a few little snippets from previous posts made by Ripple that actually tie Facebook and Ripple together, that actually tie them together as working into the same interledger system. And so a lot of people out there who were like, oh, well, this is going to be backed by worthless fiats and debt bonds. That's stupid. Yeah, but it could also be backed by XRP. In the words of Brad Kimes, come on in, right? Not trying to steal your line, Brad. I just love it. It's a great one. So, sorry about the message from somebody on Discord here. Apparently, just got a few people hopping in my Discord from my video that, if you're not familiar, if you're part of the XRP Martian community, be sure to join the Discord. It'll be linked in the description below. And I can't wait to see all of... Oh, also, if you're brand new, don't forget, hit that subscribe. Be sure to smash that like and ring that bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my latest content. As always, I've been Jade. You've been watching The Martian Report, and I can't wait to see all of you in my next video on Mars.